Look at this magnificent floating city. The year is 2024. Venice stands as a crown jewel of art.
Architecture, a bustling labyrinth of canals, grand palazzos, and millions of wandering souls seeking a glimpse
of its fading glory. The sunlight catches the golden mosaics of St. Mark's Basilica, while gondolas slice. Meanwhile, elegant gondolas smoothly slice through the vibrant emerald waters of the magnificent Grand Canal. From this unchanging, godlike vantage point, everything seems permanent, eternal, and incredibly indestructible. But what if I told you that beneath this romantic facade lies a desperate, bloody, and brilliant survival story? This epic, brutal struggle for survival has lasted for more than 16 centuries in these treacherous waters. We must wipe away the stone and glass. We must turn back the relentless, unforgiving clock of human history now. We fall back past the roaring steel engines of the industrial age, back past the grim silence of the Black Death. We plunge all the way back to the very raw beginning. The year is precisely 421 right now. There are absolutely no marble palaces here. There is no fine art, no gleaming gold, and certainly no sweet music. The mighty Roman Empire is completely collapsing under the unstoppable weight of violent, barbarian land invasions. Frightened refugees from the mainland, desperate to escape the brutal wrath of Attila the Hun, flee rapidly here. They frantically escape the advancing Germanic tribes, fleeing directly into these treacherous, endless marshlands. These terrified people have absolutely nothing. No stone to build with, no fresh water, and no crops to harvest. But they possess the ultimate, natural shield. The treacherous, shifting, and freezing tides of the Adriatic Sea. Watch closely at the bottom of your screen, as the first wooden stakes are driven deep into the petrified mud clay. This desperate action is the ultimate, profound anchor of human survival in this freezing, unwelcoming environment. Over the next few agonizing centuries, millions upon millions of petrified tree trunks will be dragged here daily. Harvested from the ancient forests of Croatia and Slovenia, they will be hammered relentlessly into the thick mud. They are literally building a resilient, new civilization on top of a completely submerged, upside-down pine forest. By the year 800, the scattered, frightened island settlements begin to merge into a unified, strong force. Fragile mud and thatch huts are slowly, painstakingly replaced by sturdy, reliable, and massive timber structures. The air here constantly smells heavily of ocean salt, freshly drying fish, and thick, suffocating dark wood smoke. The hardy people of the lagoon are profoundly isolated, but this extreme, harsh isolation breeds pure ingenuity.
They quickly realize that the very water that traps them is also a boundless, open highway to the vast known world.
They begin to aggressively harvest sea salt from the shallow lagoon, trading it for vital grain and heavy timber. They fiercely trade for exotic spices. The legendary Venetian shipyard, the immense arsenal, is born from the mud.
By the year 1000, the powerful Republic of Venice is rapidly, undeniably rising from the historical shadows.
The sky brightens significantly as unimaginable wealth pours in endlessly from the distant, mysterious eastern lands. Rich Byzantine influences arrive constantly on massive, heavily armed merchant galleys crossing the dangerous seas.
Look closely at the center of your screen as the long centuries accelerate. The old wooden churches are torn down. In their sacred, holy place, magnificent stone and imported marble structures begin to take breathtaking shape now.
The early, glorious form of St. Mark's Basilica is rising, brick by heavy brick, financed by lucrative trading. These vital trade routes seamlessly connect Western Europe to the fading Byzantine Empire and the vast Islamic world.
The pacing of time accelerates violently and rapidly as the expanding city grows obscenely and undeniably wealthy.
It is now the 13th century. Venice is no longer a desperate refuge. It is a terrifying maritime superpower.
The infamous Fourth Crusade brings unimaginable, stolen riches and priceless artifacts directly into the vast lagoon. These treasures are taken from the burning ruins of Constantinople. Grand palazzos constructed of red brick emerge. Brilliant white Istrian stone structures emerge majestically along the sweeping, elegant curves of the Grand Canal.
The entire city transforms into a vibrant, chaotic tapestry of wealthy merchants, hardened sailors, and artisans.
The visual colors shift rapidly and dramatically to warm, glowing, luxurious golds and rich, bloody imperial reds.
But triumph is always a fragile, dangerous illusion. History is never a straight, unbroken line of endless progress. It is always a brutal, unforgiving cycle of birth, magnificent triumph, and catastrophic, heartbreaking collapse. The year is 1347. The skies above the beautiful lagoon turn a sickening, terrifying, dark ash gray. The water itself seemed to stagnate, to smell, and to rot. The terrifying Black Death arrived silently on trading ships. These infected ships are returning from the distant east. Within a few agonizing, nightmarish, devastating months, nearly half of the entire lagoon population is brutally wiped out. The Grand Canals are now utterly, deeply silent.
Once bustling with deafening commerce, they are transformed into macabre highways for endless Black Plague boats. These grim boats carry the endless dead to the forsaken quarantine islands. The air is thick with choking dark smoke. The smell of burning fires and incense fills the sky. The once invincible city is suffocating in its immense wealth.
It is a terrifying, devastating, and heartbreaking dip in human history. Yet, the human spirit is deeply stubborn.
As the dark, oppressive clouds of the early 15th century finally part, a glorious golden age rapidly explodes.
An era of beautiful Renaissance art and impossible, breathtaking architecture explodes vibrantly across the screen. The iconic Rialto Bridge transitions seamlessly from a fragile, burning wooden structure to a magnificent stone arch. This indestructible stone arch spans the mighty canal perfectly. Masterpieces of engineering openly defy all gravity. The city is a blinding, overwhelming spectacle of immense wealth, beautifully elaborate masks, and endless carnival. But look closely at the shifting, darkening horizon. The groundbreaking discovery of the New World changes everything. New, vast sea routes around the terrifying tip of Africa are slowly, inevitably draining the Mediterranean of its trade power. The absolute trade monopoly is broken. The invincible, glorious empire is beginning its long, beautiful, gilded fall.
History is still relentlessly writing itself right before your eyes. Subscribe now to witness the shocking future.
The vibrant, energetic colors fade rapidly to a somber, depressing imperial gray as strict Austrian rule takes hold. Then, the unstoppable, deafening industrial revolution erupts violently across the entire continent of Europe today. The 19th century brings a chaotic, deafening symphony of incredibly hot steam, burning coal, and heavy iron.
Massive railway bridges violently and permanently connect the isolated island to the mainland for the very first time.
The mechanical, churning roar of the heavy vaporetto completely replaces the quiet slice of the wooden gondola oar. The air abruptly turns impossibly thick with harsh, orange smog. We hurtle blindly into the violent 20th century. Two devastating world wars cast dark, terrifying, and bloody shadows over the historically fragile, beautiful lagoon.
The booming post-war era brings an unprecedented, overwhelming, and massive explosion of global, chaotic mass tourism.
Millions of careless, heavy footsteps relentlessly erode the ancient, beautifully sacred stones of the historic city.
The heavy water traffic creates destructive, artificial waves, slowly and violently eating away at the foundations.
And then, the ultimate, unavoidable, and terrifying crisis emerges forcefully from the dark, unforgiving ocean depths. The water level is rising incredibly rapidly. The magnificent, historic city is slowly sinking into the dark abyss.
This colossal mechanical attempt tries to hold back the furious tides. But nature is an absolutely unstoppable force.
Now, we cross the final, terrifying threshold. We are moving deeply into the terrifying, uncharted, unknown future. The year is 2100. The global sea levels have risen dramatically, violently, and highly permanently. The massive, expensive steel protective barriers have completely failed. The beautiful palazzos are fully submerged. The famous, historic piazzas are completely lost to the angry sea. The sky is a harsh, high-contrast, glowing neon. Venice is sadly abandoned by the terrified masses. Only the most resilient, desperate few remain navigating waters. By the year 2200, the city is a silent aquatic ruin. Bright corals cling to the ancient marble columns. By 2500, Venice is an underwater megacity. The Grand Canal is a glowing, bioluminescent fast highway. It stands forever as a breathtaking testament to profound human fragility and our magnificent capacity to survive.